Hello, dear friends, welcome to our YouTube channel, USA Football Zone, latest football highlights. What happens when you disrespect world champions, and do so on their own home turf on November 21, 2023, at the iconic Maracanã Stadium? Brazil thought they could intimidate Argentina. They took the field fueled by emotion, anger, and hostility. The stadium was electric with tension even before the opening whistle blew. But they had overlooked a crucial fact: they weren't just playing against any opponent, they were facing the best team in the world. World champions let their performance on the pitch do the talking, and the statement they made was historic for any football fan. The Maracanã is hallowed ground. It is the heart of a nation that, until that night, had never lost a World Cup qualifying match at home. Brazil had remained unbeaten on their home turf for 64 consecutive matches, yet, that night, the sacred stadium was on the verge of becoming a crime scene. The air was thick with tension, as is always the case when Brazil and Argentina clash, but this time, the situation was different. Violence erupted in the stands during the national anthems. Brazilian police were seen using batons against Argentine supporters. Absolute chaos and panic ensued. Many fans, including the families of the Argentine players, were trapped amidst the turmoil. Some were injured. At least one person had to be carried off the field on a stretcher. The players on the pitch were shocked and distressed by the scene. Argentina's goalkeeper, Emi Martinez, even attempted to climb over a barrier to stop a police officer from assaulting a fan. These world-conquering players felt utterly helpless, witnessing the violence against his team's supporters. Lionel Messi's patience snapped. He led his team off the pitch. The message was clear: if our fans are attacked, we won't play. If our families are in danger, we won't put on a show, Messi later said. We saw how the police were beating people today could have turned into a major tragedy. For nearly 30 minutes, the fate of the match hung in the balance. The Brazilian players continued their warm-up on the pitch as if nothing had happened, while the world champions were in their dressing room debating whether it was safe to return to the field. It was a grave insult. This was no longer just a contest between two teams, it was a matter of safety and dignity. In Messi's words, the game itself had become secondary. When Argentina returned to the pitch, the atmosphere had shifted. The festive spirit of the Super Clásico had given way to a tense and serious situation. The world champions had been provoked. Now was the time to respond. The match was not a pleasant spectacle. It was not a display of elegant, fluid football. It was a battle. There were 22 fouls in the first half alone, a staggering statistic that spoke volumes about the hostility on the pitch. It was a fierce and heated clash, with players constantly clashing and the referee repeatedly brandishing yellow cards to maintain control. Having lost to Uruguay and Colombia, Brazil was desperate. They played aggressively, attempting to assert physical dominance and determined to impose themselves with all their might, but Argentina did not crumble. They withstood the pressure. They met that aggression with composure and resolve. They defended as a team, as a family, just as Messi had described them. Christian Romero stood like a rock in defense. He cleared a shot from Gabriel Martinelli right off the goal line, a moment that could have changed everything. Brazil applied immense pressure. They kept pushing and committing fouls, yet they could find no way through. The champions were under fire, but their spirit remained unshaken. They were simply waiting for their moment. Argentina was awarded a corner kick. Giovanni Lo Celso curled the ball right into the center of the Brazilian penalty area. Amidst the chaos and commotion involving Brazilian defenders, Nicolas Otamendi unleashed a powerful header, a shot charged with strength and determination. It was Argentina's only shot on target all night, yet it was all they needed. The goal failed to settle the match. Instead, it only deepened Brazil's frustration. Their composure crumbled. This frustration boiled over in the 81st minute. Newcastle's Joe Linton, who had come onto the pitch just 9 minutes earlier, found himself in a scuffle with Rodrigo de Paul. When de Paul grabbed his arm, Joe Linton shoved him, resulting in a straight red card. Brazil was now trailing by a goal and a man down, and their historic unbeaten home record was officially in jeopardy. For the first time in history, Brazil had lost a World Cup qualifying match on home soil. A 64-match unbeaten streak spanning decades was shattered. And the team that defeated them was none other than their greatest rival and the reigning world champions. The Argentine players celebrated their victory right there on the pitch, a triumph sweeter than any other. They had secured a memorable win in the face of adversity and a formidable opponent. After the match, Messi said, This team keeps achieving historic milestones, winning in Brazil, where they are so formidable on home soil. Their history is extraordinary. The result was devastating for Brazil, Indiana, the qualifiers. It was a third consecutive defeat, plunging the five-time world champions into a deep crisis. At that moment, they languished embarrassingly at the bottom of the standings. Sitting in sixth place, they were barely clinging to hopes of direct qualification. This defeat was a source of national shame, a blow struck on their most hallowed ground by their most hated rival Argentina, on the other hand, once again demonstrated their championship mentality. They didn't need to dominate possession or display dazzling attacking football. They simply needed to be strong, intelligent, and united. They weathered the storm of humiliation, stood by their people, and delivered a fitting, historic response. The night of November 21, 2023, was supposed to be a showcase of Brazilian might at the Maracanã. Instead, it became a night where the world champions were humiliated and responded with a crushing defeat that will echo forever in football history. The rivalry between Brazil and Argentina is filled with memorable moments. Which match between these two powerhouses stands out most to you? Let us know in the comments below. Ultimately, it wasn't about the number of goals or the beauty of the play. It was a matter of pride and honor. When faced with chaos and adversity, Argentina did not falter. They took the field, rallied, and snatched a victory worth far more than just 3 points. It was a message, a shining example of courage and strength, and a harsh lesson for their rivals. On the day Brazil sought to humiliate the world champions made history.